And the least entertaining game of the week. It's still good, but Bengals versus Titans, 19-16. Bengals move on to the AFC Championship game. Congrats to the Bengals. Congrats to Joe Burrow. They get it done. They upset the Titans at home. Titans who had a first round bye. Titans who had Derrick Henry coming back. There was a lot of hype. Derrick Henry, the king, coming back. Best running back in the NFL. How are the Bengals going to stop him? Well, to be fair, Derrick Henry did not look 100%. It did look like he got rushed back. Like, obviously, you can't blame the guy. You can't blame the Titans. It's the playoffs. He wanted to come back. They put like metal on his foot to help it heal. They did a lot of stuff. We'll see how he comes back next year. He definitely didn't have the same burst or pop or strength even when he was running. He didn't strike fear in the Bengals like he would have if he was 100%. Hopefully, King Henry is back next season and better than ever. Hopefully, he another 2,000 yard season. Fuck it. But we could obviously tell that he was not 100% and he was toughing it out for the team. So respect to Derrick Henry for even trying to go at it, even being out there on the field. It shows a lot of good. It shows the type of player that he is. So shout out to him. But it's gonna be hard for the Titans to win anything, to do anything, to get to a Super Bowl, to win the AFC when Ryan Tannehill is their quarterback. Man, he fooled everyone. He had a few good games. He was a class quality game manager, but there's a reason he didn't work out with the Dolphins. There's a reason he's not one of the top quarterbacks. He turns the ball over too much, man. And if you're at that level where you're not a game changer per se, where you're not one of the elite quarterbacks, where you're not a top elite franchise quarterback, you can't be turning the ball over, man. You got to keep a clean game. You got to not force the issue. You got to give your team a chance because you're not the star. You kind of just got to steer the ship. Let your running backs, set the pace. Let your running backs win you the game. Let your wide receivers get some yak. And Ryan Tannehill, honestly, he cost the Titans the game. He had three interceptions, only 220 yards passing, one touchdown. The touchdown, I do gotta give him credit. It was a beautiful throw to AJ Brown. So gotta give him credit there. I believe it was to tie the game. So gotta give him credit there. AJ Brown balled out, 5 receptions, 142 yards, 1 touchdown. He's a star. Julio Jones. We never got the big game from Julio Jones. 6 receptions, 62 yards. I don't know if that's on him. If it's on Ryan Tannehill, I would lean Julio Jones because he's been hurt so much these last few years. But overall, the Tennessee Titans disappointed this season. Yeah, they were the number 1 seed. But, they never really got going on offense. AJ Brown and Julio Jones never had a big game together. They were never like the force that I thought they were going to be. Ryan Tannehill definitely had a down year. And that contract it's not looking that good. And it's starting to look, the more we go into the contract, the more years we get of Ryan Tannehill as a starter with the Titans. That lust, that initial, gratitude of Ryan Tannehill turning his career around, revitalizing his career with the Tennessee Titans, that rosy glasses that we look at Ryan Tannehill, we're like, oh my God, it's so good for him, good for the Titans to give him a chance and turn his career around. Look at him, look how many touchdowns he has, 2 interceptions, look how many wins he has since he became the starter for the Titans. Like all everything that people have given Ryan Tannehill credit for and given him his flowers for. The more we get into his career, it gets to the point where like, okay, it's all good. It's all great. Good for the Titans. They're a relevant team again. They're going to consistently make the playoffs. They have a nice roster. They have the best running back in the league when healthy. They have an elite number 1 wide receiver with AJ Brown when he's healthy. But you started thinking like, okay, Ryan Tannehill, good for him. He stepped it up. He definitely is playing better in this part of his career than at the beginning. But he can't really win you games. And if you look around in the NFL, even just the AFC, you're like, okay, can we win with Ryan Tannehill? Like, can we do it? And the more I look at Ryan Tannehill with the Titans, the more it reminds me of Alex Smith with the Chiefs. Alex Smith had Tyreek Hill. Alex Smith had Travis Kelce. He had a good coach. He had Andy Reid, and he made the playoffs. The Chiefs had good records. They would win the division. They would even have big leads in the playoffs. But you never really thought that they could win it. You never really thought that they could stack 3-4 wins together and win the Super Bowl. They met up against the Patriots. You never thought they really had a chance. Even when they had the big lead against the Colts, you were like, okay, like the Colts could come back on them, and they did. They even lost to the Tennessee Titans and Mariota. And the more I see the Titans, the more I'm seeing the Alex Smith Chiefs. And then don't get me wrong, I love Alex Smith. I think he's a good quarterback. I like how he turned his career around. And similar to how Ryan Tannehill turned his career around, Ryan Tannehill had to leave and go to the Titans. Alex Smith had to wait for a coach to give him a chance in Harbaugh and really, bring stability to his career. But the more I see Ryan Tannehill with the Tennessee Titans, the more I see Alex Smith with the Chiefs. Just a good game manager, gonna have decent stats during the regular season, gonna have a pretty decent touchdown to interception ratio. He's not gonna be one of those terrible quarterbacks like Jimmy G or Baker Mayfield. He's gonna be steady. He's gonna be all right. The moment that you need him to do a little bit more, that's when it's gonna get ugly. That's when it's like, okay, we need you to go 4 wideouts and drive us down the field. Running game's not working. Your star running back's hurt. We need you to put the load on your shoulders and take us home. That's when it gets ugly. That's when they show their true colors. That's when you're reminded, okay, I don't have the guy. I don't have the franchise quarterback. I don't got the head honcho. Then it sucks. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I do think making playoffs is better than not making playoffs. But at some point, it gets tiring just losing in the first round or making the playoffs and knowing you can't win. So at some point, I think the Tennessee Titans are going to have to draft the quarterback of the future and move on. Especially if you see across the field, you see Joe Burrow and what he has done to the Bengals. The Bengals who were like the laughing stock of the NFL just a couple years ago, and now they're in the AFC conference game. So I think what I learned from this game is that Ryan Tannehill is just officially not the guy. I already had my ideas about him, but this game just seals it. Ryan Tannehill is not going to take the Tennessee Titans to the Super Bowl. It's not going to win a Super Bowl with them. It's probably not even going to make a Super Bowl with them. And if the Titans want to really be a contender, really take advantage of Derrick Henry's last few years as an elite running back, because running backs, they fall off a cliff pretty quickly, and really take advantage of A.J. Brown and get any juice out of maybe the last 2-3 years of Julio Jones. We'll see how much he has left. They got to get a real quarterback. And there's going to be some available in the market. Ryan Tannehill is not a bad piece to throw in the trade, so they might want to look into that. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll attract a quarterback like that, but they definitely got to consider that. And for the Bengals, just, not the prettiest game. Burrow had some interceptions too. The difference between Burrow throwing an interception and like Tannehill throwing an interception is like Joe Burrow, he'll win your game. His arm talent's there, and you'll win because of him. And if he makes a mistake, you're like, okay, like we're still kind of winning because of you, and you're just being aggressive. When Ryan Tannehill throws a pick, it's like, okay, bro, just don't mess it up, bro. Don't mess it up. Like, you just can't mess it up. You can't mess it up because you can't bring us back. So there's a difference. So Bengals showed some resiliency. They did beat the Chiefs in the regular season. It's going to be a great matchup. But what I learned from this game is just Ryan Tannehill is not the guy.